Growing up, we all remember posing in front of the camera for family photos and wondering why it was taking years just to take one lousy picture that we'll probably never see again. I really appreciate the care and effort that was taken so that we had those memories. It's like a moment in time captured, just for us to recall and see how much has changed. My dad would shoot a lot of family photos on film, and I think now it's time that I try it out for myself. Hey everyone, I'm Jacob and I'm a local cinematographer and photographer in Las Vegas, and currently I'm in upstate New York visiting some family, and I thought it'd be a good idea to finally dust off the old film camera and take some nice shots. I've got a pretty limited experience with shooting on film. I shot a little bit in high school, so I don't really know all of the specifics to shooting on film, so I just thought it would be easiest to buy the cheapest I can get, the Kodak 400 Ultramax film stock, and just play around with that, not using anything too expensive early on. The camera I'll be using is the Canon EOS 620. It's a little bit more of a modern film camera. It shoots with autofocus and has the EF mount for lenses. So this is something my brother bought a couple years ago, but he hasn't used it, so I thought I'd dust it off and shoot some film myself. This video is for those that are like me, that are interested in film but haven't really experienced what it's like shooting on film, developing the film, editing the film, and even printing the film. So let's just get to it. Currently I'm in the front yard because I'm going to be taking the first image on this film camera of this tree back here. And it's always been that staple image in my head whenever I come here, come to really New York in general, is these style of just big trees. And this is an older tree. I've been seeing it since I've been growing up here. So it would be a really good image to have on film. So I'm just gonna start setting up. Not really comfortable with this camera, but we're gonna start getting comfortable as we go. So now on to taking the photo. So I'm going to be center framing this. I really think that would be a nice way of showing the tree. I'm gonna go a little bit lower with it rather than more of like, I guess, eye level or above. And I'm trying to make the tree look big, and hopefully I can bring out the greens in post. That's kind of what I'm looking for right now. I'm gonna be exposing at just regular exposure, just so I can see what this camera does at regular exposure. And maybe later on I'll do some more tests with overexposure and underexposure, but for now we're gonna go with the regular exposure. Wow, that was kind of stressful. I know it's just one photo, but trying to get it perfectly right so I don't have to do much editing is just what I want to do for these types of photos. Trying to get the horizons right, trying to get the framing right, trying to get the image right the first time is kind of difficult. With digital cameras, you can just take 5 of them and you're perfectly fine. But now that I only have 24 shots on this roll of film, now 23, I have to be a little bit more precise with the shots that I'm taking. So for the rest of the shots, it's probably going to be a mixture of some portraits and some landscapes, and I'm just hoping that it goes pretty smoothly.
After taking some portraits of some of my family members, I realized it's gonna be pretty difficult to get some BTS footage of taking those photos. But now that I'm at my grandparents again, there's a little bit more time to just relax and take those photos. So I got one more shot left on the roll. My mom's gonna take a picture of me, and so we'll get some BTS of that, and I'll set up the camera for her and we'll see how it goes.
So you're looking
halfway on this side, focus, and then full way down to take the photo. So what you want to do is breathe out into the photo. So,
Are you filming right now?
I'm filming right now. So I'm going to be sitting here. Never mind. First.
Okay.
Cool. So you know the whole focus thing.
Mm-hmm.
Half press, focus, full press, take the shot.
Mm-hmm.
Just pick a position, I guess. Should I smile?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's fine.
Okay. I hope I didn't blink. So we just finished shooting the last photo on this camera, and it's looking about probably a couple weeks until I can actually process these photos. But I'm pretty excited to see how they turn out. I'm hoping they actually do turn out because my brother bought this camera at a garage sale, so we don't know 100% sure if it works. But so far it seems to work pretty well. So I'm just hoping for the best.
So I got back a couple days ago, and now I'm able to actually develop those shots. So I'm gonna go to the lab and have that roll developed, and then that'll take a day or so. And once we get the shots back, I can look at them, see if I can edit them and possibly even print them. But I'm really excited to see what those shots look like. So I just got back from developing the film, and I had a little bit of an issue early on. When I first started with the rolls of film, I accidentally rolled one of them back into itself, so I wasn't able to shoot on that. So I just shot on a different roll just because I didn't know how to pull that out and unravel it. So once I went to go develop the film, I had the two film rolls, and one of them I wanted them to be developed, and the other one I wanted them just to unravel it so then I can reuse it. But I got those mixed up, so I ended up developing a blank roll. And that is a very common mistake for people that are just getting into film. So I wasn't too surprised. It was probably like a $7 difference just because they developed this film already and then had to develop another one. So thankfully they called me and let me know, so I was able to get there in time to develop the other shots, the other roll. So I have that here. I also have the email. So they scan the photos and give you a link. I'm going to click on that link. It's a zip file with all the photos, and we'll finally be able to look at these photos that I took about a week ago and I haven't seen since. So let's just get to it. So there it is. Okay, full screen this. This is the first shot with the tree in my uncle's backyard, which now that I'm looking at it, I definitely exposed for the shadows a little bit, but all of these were shot at what it was supposed to say as the regular exposure. It wasn't overexposed or underexposed. And this looks really good. The colors are a bit different from what I was expecting. I've never really looked at many of the shots that other people shot on this film stock, but this is really interesting. It's a lot poppier. It's a little bit of a cool tone to it. So I think that's interesting. I hope that's not the case for all of the photos, because I know some of them I shot them during the day, so I don't want all of them to have like a cooler tone, but we'll see how it goes. This is a picture of my mom. I definitely gave her a little bit too much headroom, but it's really interesting how her face looks different because of the lighting. And part of that is the film. It seems a lot like brighter. There's less shadows on her. This was probably during noon, so I was expecting a lot more darker shadows, but this actually looks really good because you can see all of her face and it looks really nice. And then now this is the shot of my brother, which I really enjoyed taking because it was a lower angle and the lighting was really nice here. I was enjoying backlighting him and it turned out really well. And then this is over down the street from my uncle's. This is another shot that I took of this just rolling hills, which I really enjoy looking at whenever I go there. This is the view when you look down the street of this little farm area. It's very aesthetic. I wish I took a couple more shots of it. This is mainly why, because it has these this tall grass, which is really brings out the country life, I guess. But I do notice that the reds are desaturated again, which that might just be a common thread with this film stock. And now this is a really nice shot. Wow. The angle of this I enjoy. I forgot that I took this actually, but I enjoy that we have this three-dimensionality of this little barn. So you have all this 3D lighting to it, which is really nice, along with the colors. That's another thing. The reds and the greens are really popping. This is a really nice picture of my cousin Riley. She has a really nice tan, and so that complements the green tones a lot. So there's like a warm and cool tonality going right there. And she's wearing gray, which has a little bit of a cooler tone to it. So yeah, this is a really nice portrait. Wow, okay. This is interesting. So my grandpa was in the shade, obviously, under this tree, and I was exposing for him, but it exposed a lot more for the background. So this is almost like a silhouette, but I can still see a little bit of detail on the shadows. But yeah, I'm really surprised with this. I didn't know that the exposure would be so drastic like this. So hopefully I'll be able to recover this in the editing process. So these are all the unedited photos that we have. And I'm going to take a couple of them, edit them a little bit, and come back and show you guys what I came up with. After editing the photos, I realized really early on that these are not RAW files, these are JPEGs. And what that means is with RAW files, there's a lot more information, so you're able to recover the highlights a lot more and bring up those shadows and change the white balance and just do a whole lot of editing that you can't really do much on a JPEG. But since this is from a film camera, the shots that came back were really nice, so I didn't have to do a whole lot of editing. So that's a pro on that side. However, what I did realize is with the picture of my grandpa, I was trying to recover the shadows on that, but by bringing up the shadows, that introduced a whole lot of noise, as well as just this really weird yellow color shift. So that's most definitely not what I was looking for. So I wasn't able to recover that photo as easily as the other ones. A lot of photographers recommend to shoot a little bit overexposed rather than underexposed, just so they can avoid that issue and they'll be able to bring down the highlights rather than bringing up the shadows. And with digital cameras, that's exact opposite. A lot of people recommend to underexpose a little bit, just because with digital cameras you're able to bring up those shadows and there's information there, so it doesn't look kind of just gross. So that's the main difference between editing with digital cameras and editing with film cameras. Overall, I'm really satisfied with how all of the photos turned out. If you guys are interested, I'm going to be posting all of those photos on my Instagram. That will be linked in the description. And I hope you guys learned something from this video, whether that's I want to do film photography or I most definitely don't want to do that because it's way too much work. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.